Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Mandarin. Welcome back to another episode of China 101. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below and let us know what you think about today's topic. Now, as the conflict between the United States and America, as the conflict between China and America get into the next phase, as we know that first it started as a trade war, then it became a diplomatic war, and now we have American warships at the front door of China. So that led many Americans think that the Chinese actually hate the Americans, and there's a high chance that these two countries might end up in a war. Today, I want to talk about this topic. Do Chinese people actually hate Americans? And I think that once we look at some data, this answer should be pretty apparent. So the first thing I want to talk about is foreign direct investment from China to the United States. In the past 10 years, the US has always been China's number one investment market, and the amount of direct investment skyrocketed quickly after 2009. In 2009, China invested 1.62 billion, but just 5 years later, the number jumped almost 10 times to 10.07 billion in 2014. And 5 years later, in 2019, the number jumped almost 4 times to 37.69 billion. Would anyone in their right mind give billions of dollars to a country or people they actually hate? Of course not. As you can see in this first picture, you can clearly see the bars rose significantly after 2015. And obviously, the Chinese love to put money in the United States. Now, talk about foreign direct investment. There's one thing we just have to talk about, which is foreign buyers buying homes in the United States. Let's look at another picture. So recently, the Chinese have surpassed the Canadians as the largest foreign home buyers in the United States. In 2018, Chinese accounted for 15% of all foreign home buyers, while the Canadians accounted for 10%. The Chinese were buying up real estate twice as fast as Mexicans, which was at 8% in 2018, and 3 times as fast as Indians, which was at 5%. Now we can look at this graph right here. We can see that in 2018, the bar, which is represented by the color of orange, China is sitting at 15%, Canada sitting at 10%, and then Mexico at 8%, and then India at 5%, United Kingdom at 3%, and Brazil at 3%. Now let's look at another graph. So this graph is talking about the overall average for Chinese buyers all across the United States. But however, when we look at some specific states, such as California, the picture is different. The Chinese is by far the largest foreign buyer in California, and the other foreign nationals aren't even close to the numbers of homes purchased by Chinese. In 2018, the Chinese foreign buyers accounted for 38% of all foreign real estate investment in California. As we can see that in this table right here, we look at the second column, we have California at 38%, and then the second favorite place for Chinese buyers is actually Texas, and then the third favorite place for Chinese is actually Florida. Okay. So foreign buyers also buy a lot more expensive products, home products, compared to average American consumers. Foreign buyers pay on average $454,000 for their home, compared to average homes sold in the United States, which was at $290,000 in 2018. So which is 1.5 times more than what the average home buyers pay for in the United States. And 47% of these foreign buyers would pay cash. All data above came from National Association of Realtors Profile of International Transactions in the United States Residential Real Estate 2018. If some of you want to read the whole report, it's only 47 pages. If you are so in conclusion, if the Chinese really hate Americans, do you think they will pay all cash to purchase a $500,000 home in the United States? I don't think so. Now, let's look at another picture. So this picture right here, the next one, represent the amount of international students that is currently presented in the United States. We all know the United States remain as the #1 destination for Chinese international students, and the number of students from China jumped almost 4 times compared to 10 years ago in 2019. Currently, there were over 369,000 Chinese international students who are studying here in the United States. This number is more than twice as much compared to Canada, which is at 150,000 in 2019. Now we can look at this graph right here. We can see definitely a steady increase of international students from 2008, 2009 to 2018 and 2019. And in the past 10 years, we obviously have a rapid rise of Chinese international students, and that explains why the president of the United States is worried about, Chinese espionage in United States colleges. So, would any parents actually send their kids to study in a foreign country, and meanwhile, those parents also hate Americans? On average, international students need to spend $30,000 to $40,000 for their annual tuition. But they also need to eat, buy clothes, and a lot of them also buy cars. So at the end, their final expenditure would be much higher than their tuition. Why would these Chinese students give money to the people they hate? I don't think they hate Americans when they come here to study. Finally, let's look at another picture. Now, after we talk about the rich Chinese buying houses, rich international students coming here to study abroad, we finally need to look at the Chinese elites. Now, the political elites in China have long been loyal customers to the tax havens in the Caribbean, the Bahamas, U.S. Virgin Islands, British Virgin Islands, and many more. These tax havens help the 1% of 1% of China to hide their massive wealth. Based on a leak and published by a Canadian broadcast company in 2013, approximately $1 trillion to $4 trillion of assets have left China from the year 2000 to the date the article was published. The great majority of these assets have arrived in the Caribbean. And when we look at this picture right here, we have many red nobles presented here on the first one, which is on the top left. We have Deng Jiagui, which is the brothers-in-law of the current president Xi Jinping. We also have Wen Yunsong, the son of former premier Wen Jiabao, and the list goes on. For those of you who are interested to see more of this list, you can we have included a link below in our video description. It is you will find it in the video description, which is a link to the CBC article. Now, the above are all red nobles, as I mentioned before. They use tax haven extensively. So do you think these people hate Americans while at the same time they use American and British tax havens all the time? Of course not. So, in conclusion, it is not hard to see that the rich and powerful in China don't hate Americans. And in fact, they like Americans very much. That's why they are investing here, buying houses here, sending their kids to Harvard and Yale. And they also spend millions to purchase houses all across the United States, especially in California, which they drove up the property price to a certain extent. So the 50 and of course we constantly see 50 Cent Army and some young Chinese. They were just brainwashed by the CCP because they always put on some hateful comments about the United States on Twitter or the Global Times. But at the end of the day, they're just being brainwashed by the political elite and the rich and powerful. So these slaves will keep working hard for the rich, for the elites, and the elite can take their money and in the forms of taxes and all the other things, and then they will move their asset offshore to United States tax havens. Now, so that is pretty much for my presentation today. In one word, if you give money to someone and you're constantly giving some money to someone, that someone is probably someone you don't hate. And that concludes my presentation today. I am open for questions.
Hey Mandarin, can I start with a question?
Of course you can.
Yeah, so I'm sorry I had joined late, and like my question was like, how do you determine like whether people actually hate one another?
Oh, the way you determine that is really easy because there is a old saying called money talks, bullshit walks. So if you are giving people money, that means you like this person. But I mean you can BS all the time, because here's the thing. A person can say really, really bad thing about someone, but the moment when you need to put your money on when you need to put your money on what you say and what you think, people usually show their true colors. So that is just one way to look at it. And also, actions speaks louder than words, right? If the Chinese really hate Americans, I have a really hard time why they keep sending their kids to the United States and learn from the people they hate, and at the same time their kids, spending a lot of money here, buying cars, buying clothes, blah blah blah. I just don't see why. Like, would you give money to a person you hate? If someone in your school bully you constantly, would you give that bully money? I don't think so. I don't think so. But however, if someone, however, you might say some once you spend real money on people, like if you spend real money on a guy, even you don't tell this guy that you love him, if you spend money on him constantly, you probably like this guy. So that is my answer for you. Just look at what people do, but not what they say.
True, just like what they said. Like, what do you hear? Like, supposedly they asked Chinese people, like, do you like America? They would supposedly say no, and then they ask you, like, if I give you an American citizenship or like a green card or something, would you go? And then they will like be saying yes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Also, all of those pregnant women, they flew across, they fly across the Pacific Ocean to the United States to give birth. I mean, why would you wanna give birth to a newborn child, in a country full of people you hate? I mean, this
Yeah,
is like
definitely.
it would be like saying that the Jews are flying to Nazi Germany's and gave birth. I mean, that wouldn't make any sense. So if
True.
those pregnant women are flying to the United States in droves, that means those pregnant Chinese women love the United States and American people.
Yeah, definitely. Alex, do you have anything to ask?
Yes, I do. My question is, just continue the topic you guys just bring it up. That well, to my perspective, I believe a lot of Chinese, they do not really hate America, even though the Chinese propaganda was trying to spreading some like a hateful words about America, especially at this time of the pandemic and stuff like that. Like, the two country just kind of like a pointing fingers to each other. But still, Chinese people are really like America. If they got a chance, they will just go without any like hesitation. So my question is, why you think Chinese people? Well, I mean, true question is actually, even though like even CCP, the propaganda, they knew that Chinese people are really like American and they wanted to go there. But why you think they still trying to create all these lines and trying to, to make a what is their purpose to create all this? Like you said, that those government official, they move all their kids, families, and monies to United States. But right now, what they are doing is not really on their favor, because if they piss off the U.S. government, all their money, their family gonna be in danger. Why you think those people choose to do so, trying to trying to say something bad about America at this moment?
So okay, so this is so I need to, okay. So this question, this question goes a lot. The answer goes a lot deeper because the political the last generation of political elites, they actually don't see America as an enemy. All we need to do is just look at 10 years ago, 10 years ago, or even less than that, before Xi Jinping came into power. I mean, when Hu Jintao was in power, there weren't a lot of against America. There weren't a lot of negative American propaganda during his time, and when Hu Jintao was in power, the amount of control on how much money Chinese people can move across, to move offshore and purchase American asset is relatively loose. Um, so so that all depends on what the party secretary thinks and what he wants to do. Personally speaking, I mean, Xi Jinping, he has a really different agenda compared to his predecessors. When he comes into power, all he wanted to do is, the 20 he wants to achieve the thing called the 21st century is the Chinese century. And the only way you can make 21st century a Chinese century is to make China appear to be stronger than the United States. And the only way you can appear to be stronger than the United States is to challenge the United States, challenge the status quo, challenge the current world order. So once you challenge the current world order, it is unavoidable that you will get into conflicts with the current king of the hill, which is the United States. And personally speaking, I really doubt that a lot of the people in the central committees actually like what Xi Jinping is doing, because we know many people have many high profile red nobles have already expressed their discontent towards Xi Jinping,
Right,
and
right.
yeah, the most representative of them is Ren Zhiqiang, which is one of the most powerful red nobles in China, who spent a
Hmm.
lot of time in Hong Kong and the West, but he was recently arrested and put in jail. So
For
these
18
people,
years, I think. Yeah, for
yeah,
18
yeah.
years.
So
Hmm.
personally, I don't think red nobles like Ren Zhiqiang actually hates the United States, because his family benefited a lot from doing business with the West. I mean, Hong Kong is the place where East meets West. Right,
Hmm.
all of the countries, the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, they go to Hong Kong and they do business with China. And Ren Zhiqiang, he got rich. So for people like him, I don't think he hates Americans, but for Xi Jinping, he has a really different agenda, and that is how we ended up where we are today. But however, it is not completely the fault of Xi Jinping, because over here in the United States, we do have President Trump, who wants to make America great again. And one of the key factors within to make America great again is to bring a manufacturing job back to the United States, and to significantly change the current trade the current trade deals that the United States have with China. So once you do that, it is unavoidable that the United States will go into conflict with China, and that's how the trade war starts.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I don't have anything else to ask.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have a question. Sorry. So previously, like a few days ago, I watched a video. Like, there's this kid, Chinese kid. It looks like a 80s documentary, like where they asked Chinese kids. They looked around 6 to 7 year old, like their thoughts on Japanese, and then like the reporter, interviewer, whatever, just asked the kid like, "What do you think on Japanese people?" And then the kid was like, "I hate Japanese people." And then like they started asking the reason why, and then like the kids couldn't say anything about like history or like why they hated, like why they supposedly hated the Japanese. And so my question is to this, like, to what extent do you think a government can influence the thoughts of people? Like, it's somewhat related to this, yeah, but yeah, it's a little far.
Yeah, the entire education system is basically a method of control for the government. I mean, hate can be easily taught, especially for young people. I mean, when we were going to elementary school, we were told that United States capitalism is bad. That United States is an imperialistic country that go around and take people's stuff. But we were never given the detail of why the United States is bad. Like what did the United States ever done to China? But the government, they just use the education system to brainwash you into hate, and which is just kind of like the leftists here in the United States. And you ask them, they hate Donald Trump, and then you ask them, why do you hate Donald Trump? Can you give me an example? And then they will say Donald Trump is racist, and then you ask them why Donald Trump is racist. They cannot give you evidence. It's just pure hate, but they don't. But there's no evidence for their hate. The Donald Trump never done anything to these leftists. But however, they were taught to do that. They were brainwashed to do that. The mainstream media, the schools they go to, and maybe the communities maybe the neighbors they hang out with, the friends they hang out with. So all those stuff. And to be honest with you, I mean, making the average people hate America is really useful, because what that means is, if the average people hates the United States, they won't come to the United States, which means they will not spend money in the United States. And if you don't spend money in the United States, you spend money in China. Once you spend money in China, it is more money for the Chinese political elites, for the rich and powerful, and then they can take the money you spend and purchase more offshore assets in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia. So basically, it's like, the peasants paying tributes to their lords.
Yes, thank you for that answer. I do have one more question. So, is it possible for someone, like, it is possible, but like, what suggestions would you give to currently like students and like in overall in general people to overcome this system, like prevent being brainwashed? Like what can people in mainland China do? Like, yeah.
There's not much the people in mainland China can do, because in mainland China, the channel of your information is strictly controlled. It's either that your parents tell you that how bad the Chinese Communist Party is, which most parents don't do that. Or you are good with computers and you have a VPN, so you can see what is really happening outside of the internet firewall. So I don't, well, personally speaking, I don't really know what the Chinese people can do themselves, other than having a VPN, and try to get a different perspective. Yeah.
Okay. So like one more question, sorry. As you stated, like Chinese people are giving money to Americans, like not giving but like paying and sending their kids to American colleges and like like buying houses in other countries. So since this feeling is determined not hate, what do you think it's like the general mood of the Chinese society to foreign countries or just America?
I think the general this is really tough because I haven't been back to China for a long time. I don't really know what the what how the average Chinese people think about other country. But one thing I know for certain, I think most people, especially the people who don't have VPN and never been abroad, like they
Mhm.
never traveled abroad, they never sent their kids abroad to study. I would say that their feeling towards the West is probably negative, because if you're in China, you turn on TV, all of the mainstream medias and social media and newspaper magazine, they all bring you negative news of the West. So there's really no different perspectives. And if you are drowning in this negative perspective about the West all the time, I highly doubt I highly doubt that they will have a positive impression of the Western world.
Yeah. Yeah, but like connecting to your question, like it's like you mentioned that a lot of people like who have not been abroad are thinking like negatively towards foreign countries. And do you think that is driven because of jealousy? Like you're jealous of what you cannot get?
Uh, Maybe, I don't know because it has been a long because like I said, I haven't been back to mainland China for a long time, and the reason why I made this video today is I want to
Um,
give people a perspective on data, because numbers don't lie.
right.
No matter what people say about no matter what people say about the 50 Cent army, or what Hu Xijin says on Global Times, it doesn't matter. I mean, money talks, bullshit walks. If you are spending billions and billions of dollars in the United States, I don't believe you hate Americans.
I wanted to answer uh, S- Stacy's question about this because since I you know constantly went back and forward, between the two country, I would say the jealousy is maybe, but it's very small percentage of the reason. The biggest reason is the cyber block of the real information. So when you have limited information, people turn to make false decision. So just for example, when you don't have the exclusive information about certain things, whatever decision you make, it's probably not going to be correct. Do you understand what I mean? So basically, the reason why the CCP is blocking the internet, they block all these information sources from the Western world, is because of this reason. Because they know their system is not supportive and it's not good fit for the human civilization. So it's actually anti human nature. So that's why they don't want those advanced democracy thinking passed to Chinese. So when people are waking up, they realize what is good, then people gonna stand up and take down CCP. That's exactly what they
Yeah.
fear. So so
Um
basically people are not really jealous, but I would say people are envy of people in the United States because they want the freedom. They want the abundant life, resources, all that. They want those. But China, they don't have that. All these good resources money, wealth, everything
But like,
it belongs to those people who has power. So so
if they know that, like, would they think that should belong to them? Like, the media keeps on telling them that they should work hard to get whatever to afford schools, education, a better living lifestyle. Like, they know, like, they don't have resources that are fair and like that should comply with their hard work. Then why do the Chinese people think that way? Like, do they know that they deserve a better life? Not like, do they
of
know that
course they
their
do.
their
Of course they
officials?
do. Of course they do. But the problem is, remember
Then just go
remember the
on.
Tiananmen Square. Always remember why so many people got killed. Chinese people being exorcised of to practice the fear over and over again for 70 years. It's not like they don't know what is fair or what is good. It's because they live under fear. If you do this, your family gonna take away, you'll get killed, you gotta think twice about what you need to do.
So do you think like there like is there like courage missing, or like do they is there like at this point nothing they can do like to stand up against, like, actually in mainland
Well,
China, or like,
I don't
or if we predict a massive or general, like, public
see.
activity or event,
Okay,
would you think the government would repeat whatever they did like in Tiananmen Square?
they're gonna keep doing. Okay, Chinese Communist Party, they're gonna keep doing whatever they doing. The same way. They're not going to change. If there's somebody stand up and against them, they're gonna use force and power to kill those people. That's no doubt. So
So do you think the only way for like the CCP to be taken down has to be foreign powers, like nothing inside? It's
no.
everything done by something like outside world.
Well, it's really hard to say because we don't know right now, like especially inside China, like what really happening within the Communist Party. But I do believe there are people like generals and or people in the military, or even some opposite force against Xi Jinping. They probably want to do something, but we don't have that information. But that's probably a big chance it's going to happen. And together with the help of the Western world, I think China gonna face some really, really, really big changes in a very soon, like in a very short of a time. I would say this year or next year, we're gonna see some big changes. But for
Yeah.
ordinary people, it's very difficult because, for example, like you and me, if we live in China, we just ordinary people. We don't have anything. We don't have money. We don't have gun. We don't have weapon. We don't have nothing. So chances are you're gonna get killed. Even though you're trying to spread the information of the whistleblower movements, you probably gonna be on the list, and they gonna talk to you about something. They're gonna threat to you. So I would say, for ordinary people, I don't know if Mandarin agree with me, but for ordinary people, the top priority is spreading the truth, spreading the real information, what's really happening right now. That's the number one thing. If people all waken up, so CCP is going to finish very, very fast. You see, so the information is actually the power. So right now, it's not easy for ordinary people to kill anyone, or to take down CCP like by force. But another better way is to spread the truth and pass down the information of the whistleblower movement to everyone
Okay.
they know. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's
I
the
have a question that is a bit off topic, but it has to do with like recent events and things I'm going through. Like I have a hard time dealing with 5 cents, like when they talk about like China's Communist Party, like the system is because of the nation's conditions. Like, how do you respond to that? Like, to this?
Mandarin. Do you want to answer her question?
Well, what you first you have to ask them what do they mean by the nation's conditions. I mean, are they saying that
it's like you know what they say. It's just in Chinese. It's like 我国自有国情在. Like that is what
yeah,
they mean.
that's my question. Like what kind of special conditions are they
They would be like
talking
they would be
about?
like telling you like China has a large population and it would not be okay if like the government gives out AIDS. And like more of all, like the Chinese moral, they would not go with the rules. Like for example, if schools give out meals like for kids, and then like Chinese families would go like get tons of those, like more than what they need. Like it's
I think, well, I mean, to counter their argument, you have to know what kind of conditions they're talking about. I mean, are they saying that because if their condition if their argument is the Chinese population is too big, then your counter argument is, well, I mean, India is at 1.3 billion people, so they also have a huge population, and they have democracy. So population is not a counter argument. It's not a counter argument. I mean, if they said that, well, the Chinese the Chinese people, some Chinese people are not they are not ethical. They spit on the floor. They are not really they are not really literate. They don't have college degrees. Well, that is also not an argument, because I mean, the United even when you look at the United States, only 35% of the United States population has a college degree. So and United States is one of the most stable democracy in the world. So saying that, saying that everybody needs to have a college degree to make the country a suitable candidate for democracy, it's just BS. It's
Yeah.
not, yeah. So
I think
but here's the thing though, like, Stacy, I mean, my recommendation is just don't spend time with 50 cents. I mean, you don't need to convince 50 cents, because 50 cents, they are paid to do their job. I mean, they are
Right.
paid to they are paid to troll you. So the best thing you can do is just not play with trolls.
Yeah.
true,
Yeah.
true.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but they're like
I
way too. Yeah.
and I had the same problem at the beginning, but later on I just realized I was wasting my life because those
Yeah.
people are soulless. They sold their belief, whatever, to the CCP. So
Yeah.
just like you talk to some dead body, tell them what is right, what is wrong. It's
Stop
meaningless.
beating a dead
So
horse, Stacy.
exactly.
Stop beating a dead horse. So yeah. Any more questions?
I think I'm good. Stacy, do
Yeah,
you have
I'm good
more
too.
question? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
thanks.
well, that is so, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for tonight. Once again, thanks for the guests, the Alex and Stacy, and ladies and gentlemen, tune in once again next week at the same time. And once again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And we will see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.